what are
Yeah.
your plans for the off season and possibly playing or just doing individual workouts?
Yeah, I mean, probably take a little bit of a break here, just for maybe a week. I don't really want to lose a ton of the stuff I've worked on, and just trying to get my body back to full health.
What do you do when you dominate an entire tournament, outplay nearly every defender on the floor, and put up numbers no one else can match, yet still find yourself sitting on the bench? For many players, that moment might spark frustration or public criticism, but sometimes the strongest response is silence. You let your performance speak first, and when the time is right, you calmly say your piece. That is exactly what Caitlin Clark did after one of the most controversial decisions involving the United States women's national basketball team in recent memory. After being limited during a critical international matchup, a decision that triggered intense debate among fans, analysts, and former players across every major platform, Clark finally addressed the situation, and what she said, and how she said it, revealed a great deal about the kind of competitor and person she truly is. To understand the controversy, you have to start with the context. When the Team USA roster was assembled for international competition, discussion around Clark was already at an all-time high. She had just completed a remarkable season with the Indiana Fever in the WNBA, breaking records and becoming the most-watched player in the league. Wherever she played, ticket sales surged, television ratings climbed to levels the league had rarely experienced, and arenas were selling out weeks in advance. Markets that had struggled to fill seats were suddenly packed with fans wearing Clark jerseys. At that point, Caitlin Clark was more than a talented athlete. She had become the central figure driving a massive surge of interest in women's basketball, the reason many casual viewers started tuning in, and once they started watching, many became devoted fans. Because of that impact, expectations were simple when she joined Team USA. Fans wanted to see her play. They wanted to watch her create the same excitement on the international stage that she had created throughout her professional season. Early reports from training camp suggested that everything was moving in that direction. Coaches praised her basketball intelligence, teammates highlighted her competitive spirit, and observers noted how seriously she prepared each day. Clark studied game film, worked tirelessly in practice, and looked ready to play a significant role. The excitement surrounding her potential performance in international competition was enormous. Many believed this would be her moment to shine on one of the biggest stages in women's basketball. Then came the game that changed the entire narrative. It was a matchup Team USA was expected to handle comfortably, a situation where coaches could experiment with rotations, build chemistry, and give key players meaningful minutes. Clark appeared ready. From the bench, she remained focused, studying defensive schemes, watching every possession carefully, and mentally preparing for the moment she might be called into action. The crowd seemed ready for her too, but when the rotations were announced, Clark's playing time was extremely limited. The minutes she received were brief, almost invisible compared to expectations. When she did step onto the court, she immediately showed flashes of what makes her unique. Sharp passes sliced through the defense, quick decisions helped create transition opportunities, and her instincts on offense were obvious. She looked active, confident, and prepared, yet the opportunity disappeared almost as quickly as it arrived. Soon she was back on the bench, watching the game unfold without her involvement, and the reaction from the basketball world was immediate and intense. Former players voiced their opinions across social media, fans expressed frustration, and sports networks discussed the situation repeatedly. Hashtags began trending online, as commentators across multiple platforms questioned the logic of limiting one of the sport's most exciting offensive talents. Many observers pointed to Clark's statistical impact as evidence that she should have been more involved. During her WNBA season, she averaged more than 19 points per game and led the league in assists while directing the Indiana Fever offense with remarkable vision. Her long-range shooting forced defenses to stretch, opening space for teammates. Advanced metrics also supported her effectiveness, with strong efficiency ratings, impressive points per possession numbers, and consistent performance in high-pressure situations. Perhaps most importantly, her style elevated the entire team's offensive rhythm. When she played, the game often opened up for everyone around her. Naturally, the coaching decisions became a major talking point. Some analysts suggested the team's system relied on a slower half-court approach that did not fully highlight Clark's strengths, particularly her ability to push the pace and operate effectively in pick-and-roll situations. Others mentioned defensive matchups, arguing that international play sometimes demands a certain kind of versatility on defense. However, many commentators quickly pushed back on those explanations, noting that Clark competes hard defensively and that the offensive advantage she brings often outweighs any concerns about individual matchups. Several respected voices within the sport also shared their perspectives publicly. Legendary figures such as Cheryl Miller and Lisa Leslie discussed the situation, while former WNBA players and coaches who had followed Clark's career since her time at the University of Iowa expressed support for her development and impact. Even analysts who typically avoid strong opinions found it difficult to fully justify the limited playing time based purely on basketball strategy. Throughout all of this noise, however, Clark herself remained calm. Her career has repeatedly demonstrated a remarkable ability to handle pressure. From the moment she arrived on the college basketball stage, she showed a willingness to embrace big moments. She broke long-standing scoring records, performed in high-pressure games, and never appeared intimidated by the spotlight. Instead of shrinking under pressure, she often seemed energized by it. When the controversy reached its peak, many people wondered how she would respond. Would she criticize the coaching decisions? Would she post something online hinting at frustration? Reporters were ready with questions, cameras were focused on her reactions, and the entire sports world was watching. But Clark chose a different approach. She waited until she could speak calmly and clearly, and then addressed the situation with composure. In her comments, Clark emphasized the importance of the team above any individual role. She acknowledged that fans felt frustrated on her behalf but explained that her priority remained supporting the team and being prepared whenever her number was called. She spoke about the privilege of representing her country and about continuing to improve regardless of circumstances. Her message was simple and direct: she would keep working, and the game itself would ultimately speak for her. That response resonated with many people. Instead of escalating the controversy, Clark demonstrated professionalism and maturity. Her calm attitude reminded fans why she has earned so much respect across the basketball community. She did not deny that the situation was difficult, but she refused to let frustration define her reaction. The story, however, is far from finished. Team USA still has games ahead, and the discussion about Clark's role is unlikely to disappear quickly. With every matchup, viewers will continue watching closely to see how the rotation evolves and whether her minutes increase. The attention surrounding the situation has drawn not only dedicated WNBA followers but also casual sports fans who simply want to see how one of basketball's most exciting players will be used. No matter how the tournament unfolds, one thing is already clear: Caitlin Clark's presence has changed the conversation around women's basketball. Her talent, visibility, and ability to inspire debate have brought unprecedented attention to the sport. Whether she is on the court making plays or responding thoughtfully to challenges off it, her influence continues to shape the future of the game. And as the competition continues, the entire basketball world will be watching to see what happens next.